Good morning. Merry Christmas to all of the agents out there listening to and watching our show. Welcome to be back with you here on December 29th. Started the day a little early today. Rob, how was your Christmas?
It was fantastic. Pretty peaceful, calm. How about yours?
It was great. All right, so let me hit you with this real quick before we get into some insurance stuff.
Okay.
What was your favorite gift that you either gave or received for Christmas this year?
Well, my favorite gift we gave, my wife and I drove around on Christmas Eve and dropped off mix and match 6-packs to all of our friends within like a 20-mile radius. So nice little pick-me-up for the people sitting at home.
Nice. Well, I have to say that my daughter, I'm a bourbon guy. You know I'm a bourbon guy. But my daughter got me these ice molds to make like the big ball of ice.
Oh, yeah.
Like as opposed to like 50 different ice cubes in your glass. It's the single. I looked at it, I was like, holy man, I've got these at nice restaurants all the time. Now I have them at home. So I've literally been like every 6 hours like flipping them out. So now I've got a Ziploc bag full of these gigantic ice spheres. Like it's awesome.
It's like one of those things you just want to make sure you don't drop on your toe when you open the freezer too quick.
It's like the size of a pool ball.
Yeah.
Like you could kill someone with
Yes.
this thing. So if the zombie apocalypse ever happens, I don't need a bat. I'm just gonna grab the ice cubes out of the freezer. So, well, hey, let's get right into it. Wanted to talk a little bit about NAHU and Medicare Advantage certification. So, as part of my role with NAHU, I've been very involved in working on this certification course and talking to insurance companies. And it's been great that over the last, like, say, week to 2 weeks, we're starting to get carriers, major companies in the Medicare Advantage space, signing on to say yes. We are going to accept the NAHU certification for 2022. 2021 was kind of a soft launch, as you know, but I'm really excited about it because in working on the content is so much better than AEP. I mean, it really is. But just using that as a springboard, I wanted to ask you this question because we were talking about it kind of over Christmas break with some of us that are working on this. Do you think agents look at certification as simply checking a box, I got to do this thing, or do they look at it as a development opportunity to kind of hone their skills, build their toolbox?
I think that's one of those things that's a double-edged sword. I know, like, for agents that are new coming in, I always view it and, I talk to agents constantly, and I talk to a lot of agents over the course of the year. But it's such a good training step when you're first getting started. And a lot of agents view it too who have been in the field for a long time. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, that are just checking the box. I have to do this every year.
Yep. They're
going to complain about it, which, hear that all the time. But there are a lot of people that want to see, what's new. And that content isn't always kind of highlighted, brought to the front. It's, you have to pour through all the information and determine, oh, this is different or this is different. So I do see that, I see a lot of box checking, but it really can be a good developmental tool when there are new things that come out each year.
See, I think I agree with you that the experienced agent looks at it as a box check, but here's why I think they do that. I think it's because the training that AHIP has developed is so bad. Like AHIP, I'm sure you got lots of great people there. I'm sorry, your training is terrible. It's just horrific. Especially, and what was actually the impetus behind trying to develop this Medicare Advantage certification course with NAHU was not this year, 2020's AHIP, but the 2019 version. It was so horrific. There were like a quarter of the questions on cost plans when cost plans were in the process of being sunsetted.
Right.
Like it was just horrifying. And I really wonder if agents have an opportunity to have a certification course that legitimately will help them build their skills. Is that something they're going to take advantage of?
It's definitely something that's a lot more engaging. I mean, if you could take something that contains more relevance to what is actually out in the market, because that's one of the things that I hear from agents all the time is when I do AHIP, I know that it wasn't made by insurance agents. Yep. It's made by people who make the guidelines, not for that type of audience, and it's just a disconnect between the relevance and how they can actually use it, because it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and you're so right about that, because like I'll be talking to an insurance agent on the phone about a question that they've got on the AHIP exam, and they'll ask me about, what do I think about this, or isn't this a weird question? And whenever I take the AHIP exam, I say to myself, how would a non-insurance agent who works for the federal government expect me to answer this question?
Right.
Like not like what is the right answer. It is what does this bureaucrat or whoever think the right answer is. And invariably that is what the right answer is. But I am so hopeful that the training that that we've developed as part of this NAHU FMO Council, and there's a lot of great people on it, like Sylvia Gordon, Brent Ehlers, Dwayne McFerrin at SMS, who's just a super smart guy, Craig Ritter, like a lot of like the top minds in the senior market are all working together on this training. I think it's going to be great, so I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and getting buy-in from a lot of the carriers is definitely going to help, because as we know, agents aren't going to do two things. It's going to be limited. So getting them that buy-in is great.
Yeah. So we'll see how that transpires. So here we are. It's December 29th. AEP is over for all intents and purposes. And by the time we get to this time next week, we will be in January. And I was thinking about this over holiday break. I don't know why I was thinking about it over holiday break, but I was. About, coming out of the gate fast, like with a lot of the things that we talk about in terms of recruitment and sales development, but specifically for our Medicare agents in the field. I thought, okay, what should they really be doing the first couple weeks of January, specific to client retention, knowing that OEP's out there, your clients can switch. So let me ask you, if you were Robb Turnbull, senior market Medicare agent, okay, what would you be doing to outreach your clients during the first couple weeks of January?
So generally, and this is something I always advise people to do, is start to reach out and touch base with people that you did, number one, write on policy, or make plan changes this year, because they might have added some type of OTC benefit, something like that. And usually I'm reaching out to make sure they got their cards, see if they had any issues, if they had any doctor's appointments lined up, things like that, because those are the big impactful things. And when you're doing that, you're really putting yourself back into that client's mind. Because if you met them in, mid-October, we're 3 months down the line, and it might be, we're kind of falling off.
Heck, I don't remember people that I met 3 weeks ago.
Right, exactly. So circling back with them, and if they're a new client, making sure that they have your contact information, they didn't lose your business card, things like that. And you could even that's a phone call, that's a letter, any type of touch there is going to be advantageous. Plus, and I've even got this with a couple people that I've written policies for, where you talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, my brother Jim needs Medicare now too, so you always get that little referral bump from just being out there with, in front of your clients.
So I got to ask you this: Were you and Ryan going over my slides on this? Because I feel like you just outlined like almost the majority of like my strategy. So now I think we're pretty in tune. So for all the agents out there that are working in the senior market, you went through AEP, you did your Medicare appointments. The first 2 weeks of January, I think, are really critical, especially with the presence of the OEP, because you just went out and you took a lot of apps, but now you're in the position of you want to make sure you keep those clients. You want to make sure they're still your client come 4/1. Yeah. So let's talk for just a minute about what I would advise in terms of a strategy for client retention. And I think, Robb, just from our conversation, I think we're pretty in tune with this. So the first step specifically that you're going to want to go through is you want to contact all of your clients that either are new to you, like you got a lead mailing, you went out, you wrote these people, or your existing clients who switched plans. Okay, so any of your clients that are on new plans starting January 1, you want to get in touch with them and do a couple things. So first and foremost, did you get your ID cards? Like, this is the single biggest pain point sometimes that clients have, because they select a new plan or they enroll in for the first time and they're literally looking at the mailbox out their window every day. Are my ID cards here? Are my ID cards here? I need to go to the doctor. I need to do XYZ. And that's really important. So first and foremost, do they have their ID cards? Secondly, their ID cards are coming. They usually also get a post-enrollment package. Now, when you get the post-enrollment package, a lot of times it's a provider directory, a formulary, OTC catalog, like all of those various things that are coming to a consumer when they jump onto a new plan. And they probably sat there and were looking through it. Do they have questions on it? Does any of the information look to be different to them than what you talked about during your appointment? It's also good to talk through any questions they've had on their post-enrollment package. And I also think it's really important on the Medicare Advantage plans that contain an over-the-counter benefit, help them place an order. So market research shows that the single biggest reason for client satisfaction with their health plan is when they feel they're getting value. So, early on, if you have a consumer, if you can help them place an order for their OTC benefit, that immediately is giving a, wow, I like this plan. Hey, I ordered stuff and it came, and here's my diabetic socks, and here's my ointment, and here's my different things that are coming. I think it's just a really super great thing to do.
Oh yeah, it's a really easy way to build yourself in their eyes as an asset to them and an advocate for them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now you've hit the people who've switched plans. What about your people that kind of retained? And I think that's also important to do too. So during this period of time, you want to reach out to them. Again, any of those people that have an OTC catalog, they may understand how to do it. Talk them through it. Make sure that they're able to get that initial value off of the plan very early on. The other item is, sometimes those consumers who are on these products, the premium has changed on their product. Maybe it went from $39 to $35 or $42 to $48, or sometimes it's a zero premium plan going to $20 or a $20 plan going to zero. Ask them if the premium draw worked correctly. Most of these consumers with plans that have premium are on a bank draft. Check to make sure that their bank draft worked correctly. Because that can also be something that really frustrates a consumer, is they're expecting $37 to come out of their bank account. All of a sudden, it's still the old $42 premium from last year. And what you don't want is that type of problem exacerbating itself, and then they're getting frustrated. They get a call from another agent, and then bang, they're off your book. So also a good question to ask. Now, the last thing that I would advise on all of your client calls, and this is really important, Rob, you touched on this when you were kind of talking about what your strategy would be. Ask them, do any of your friends and family wish that they had been able to make a plan change? Maybe there was a consumer, and I don't know, we've talked about this on various shows during the AEP, about consumers that maybe didn't want to meet with an agent, didn't feel comfortable due to COVID, various things. But every year there are people who don't get around to making a plan change during the AEP, and they're sitting around in January, February, March. They're there. Ask for those referrals. Let the consumer know about the OEP, and that, hey, if you have friends or family that still need to make a plan change, I can help. And then lastly, you want to close that call with, depending on your business model, you may have gone through hospital indemnity during your sales appointment. If you didn't, it's probably a good time to pitch it. I mean, you guys did a great thing on hospital indemnity, in the Senior Moment episode that just launched on December 24th. But, either hospital indemnity or final expense, close with a pitch on that. Offer that as an additional service to really get some additional value out of those calls that you're making early in January.
Oh yeah, and having multiple products with the client is going to build our retention even further.
Yeah, you don't want to end up like Ebenezer Josh.
Yeah.
With the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, like standing in his office laughing at him.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you have as much fun shooting that episode as I did watching it?
Oh,
I thought it was great.
Oh yeah, it was so much fun. It was a good one. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I would have to tell you though, my favorite part of the whole episode, which was a little bit of Ryan magic, like Ryan, our video producer, does an amazing job. Anytime I wave my hand over here, he's doing lots of crazy stuff. But the best was on the pull-out shot where there's the cabin and then there's Robb in the window. That was some amazing Ryan magic for sure.
Oh yeah, I love that.
It's cool. So the new year is coming. And 2020 is moving to 2021. We are going to have a Happy New Year's special that Jill and I are shooting on New Year's Eve morning. But With the new year comes a new video schedule.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so wanted to let you guys know about the new schedule that we will be having here at Neishloss and Fleming with our video production. So Near and Far, which has been going on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, we're ramping it up. Like, what's the only thing better than Near and Far?
More
Near and Far. So we're going to be dropping Near and Far Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. The Neishloss and Fleming studio productions, which is like Senior Moment, the show that you and Kristen do, Know It All, Jill's Broker Gadgets, those shows are going to drop on Tuesday mornings. And then the Neishloss podcast that Mike Asti hosts is going to be on every Thursday morning. So if you are out there, if you are enjoying our video content, we are going to have new tremendous stuff for you every single morning at 7 a.m. to start your day. I think you should be really excited about what we're bringing to the table. So hopefully you enjoy watching it as much as we enjoy putting it together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so I got to hit you because I know that you like comic book movies as much as I do. So Wonder Woman 1984 is out. It was really interesting because I have been so excited for this movie because I really enjoyed the first Wonder Woman movie so much. But was hearing that it was coming out. This release got delayed, I think, 3 or 4 times due to COVID. Yeah. And finally released on Christmas Day. Also was released on HBO Max, which I have through my Apple TV, which is great. I would tell you the best gift you can get for yourself is Apple TV, and then spend another like $11 on Disney Plus. Like that, we were just talking about that this morning. But did you see Wonder Woman 1984 yet? Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I'm looking forward to it though.
It was a tremendous movie. I don't want to give any spoilers out, but I thought it was really well put together. Because a lot of times, you bring the sequel out, and it's like, what are we doing here? How's it going to work? But I thought it was really well done. So I won't give any spoilers. No spoilers here. But I got to ask you this question because we were debating this. The group of us that watched the movie together at my house. Marvel, DC.
Okay.
And like from a comic book perspective, like, I had some very specific feelings in this, but specific to the movies, like where do you come down in the Marvel DC back and forth?
I have to go Marvel all the way. And there's a couple of different reasons. I mean, number one, just the actual quality of the movies outside of the scope of, I've been a comic book person for a long time. Yeah. But even outside of that scope of like knowing the stories and the characters, the movies are actually good movies. It's from the new MCU. We'll talk about that because there's stuff before that is terrible, like the old Fantastic Four movie that was never even released. If you look it up on YouTube, it is hilarious. Yeah. But that quality's really been there.
Like starting with Iron Man is what you're talking
about.
Yeah,
that's really kind of the beginning point. Now, DC has done some stuff with the Batman movies, going back to the more kind of darker scene and having a bit more, I wouldn't say adult content. Yeah. But same thing with the Marvel movies with Logan and Deadpool. That I feel like, I'm a target audience for that type of thing. It's in that realm. It's outside of the more not violent. Some curse words. We'll say adult language. Yes. Yeah. So I'm Marvel all the way right now.
Well, see, here's the thing. I absolutely lean far more towards Marvel than I do to DC. And unfortunately, as just to clarify as part of this discussion, I am not counting the Christian Bale Batman movies as part of the DC universe. Even though Batman is obviously a DC character, like we're really this like was started with like Man of Steel and that area. I don't understand how DC has screwed this up. Yeah. Because Man of Steel was a fantastic movie. I loved it. Like, it was everything that I possibly could have wanted in the Superman origin story. I mean, Kevin Costner as, Clark Kent's dad, Diane Lane as his mom, like, it was just so well done. Like, Amy Adams as Lois Lane, it was so good. The solo Wonder Woman movie, also excellent. Really good. The solo Aquaman movie, it was decent. Yeah. It was a decent watch. But I think where they totally screw this up, and the genius of how Marvel has made it work, is when Marvel brings all the characters together, like in Avengers, the Avengers Ultron movie, Infinity War, Endgame, like all of those, they were epic.
Right.
Like they were so great. And even in some of the movies where it's like a couple of the characters together, like Captain America Civil War, like I don't know how anyone watches that movie that's been invested in watching them and isn't just like blown away by how good the movie is. But when DC brings the characters together, like in Batman versus Superman and Justice League, it was horrible. Like I just kept watching. I was like, this is a car crash I can't take my eyes off of. So, you know, that's the thing. Like, I think the genius of Marvel is not so much the solo character movies, because those are good, but it's when they bring characters together and they're able to do them in a more ensemble type way that's where their genius is.
And in those particular scenarios, there's no backtracking. You know, the character's history is there. You know, we could grab two people, put them together, and you don't need to figure out their backstory because you already know it. It's already there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just it made me start thinking about it when we watched Wonder Woman 1984, and it was good, really, really good, and then it was like, why can't all the other DC movies be as good as the Marvel kind of ensemble ones? So it's kind of weird stuff. But you definitely check it out. It is a great movie. For those of you who are out there that are thinking about watching Wonder Woman 1984, do it. Did I mention Gal Gadot's in the movie? It's absolutely worth the watch. So, well, hey Rob, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So we will see you for the New Year's special. Thursday morning, December 31st at 7 a.m. This is Rob, I'm Bill, and this has been Near and Far. We'll see you Thursday. Thanks, guys.